Hey there folks, Wrel here. I decided to do a short series regarding the functions of stealth in Planetside 2. The purpose is to give you some strategies and helpful advice that will make you a stealthier assassin, or at the very least, help you survive a little bit longer. In this episode I want to talk about the basic principles of stealth and then follow it up with some helpful tips that you can start using immediately. Now, this is probably going to be my most philosophical episode of the series, so please bear with me. My concept of stealth revolves around three main elements. That's perception, which includes how humans perceive lighting, color, motion, sound, and camouflage. Evasion, which focuses on strategically moving around the battlefield, avoiding line of sight, and positioning yourself to engage the enemy. And opportunity, the ability to recognize and execute a proper strategy based on what's happening second by second. I want to go over just a little bit of what I mean by each element using different clips, though they're not separate by any means. So, to start it all off, I stumble upon a huge opportunity. The enemies are facing the setting sun in a fortified position at the top of the hill. They're intent on killing anything that comes out of our warp gate, and as you can probably tell, there is a lot going on. Fighters, tanks, people running by. If any one of them were to turn around and press the Q button, I'd be a very easy kill. A couple things to note is that I'm approaching from behind and on the outskirts of a big battle. I'm concealed in the shadow of the hill, and there is no one behind me to take notice. There is no silencer on this weapon, so I'm definitely on the mini-map, but no one is paying attention. When I reach the top, the first thing I want to do is grab the guy that's kneeling down, using the free headshots to my advantage. I know the engineers are going to take a little bit longer to respond because they have to leave their turrets. As a side note, you'll see my knife goes right through the engineer on the first swing. I could have sat back and took pot shots at these guys from a safe distance, but instead I realized an opportunity and closed the distance to kill all of them. In the next clip, I'm on a flash trying to skirt the enemy's defenses. They're so intent on killing the mags and scythes and allied infantry that I'm able to pass by a lot of them without them noticing. And the ones that do notice, I can gun down, or at the very least, keep them away from me. So admittedly, this is more luck than stealth, but I evaded them with ease, and I placed myself strategically to be an asset to the team. As you can see, I set up a turret, which in itself has some great shielding, but there is also cover to my left in the form of a tree and some rocks. So when things get out of hand, which they do, I'll be able to draw my attackers in. So I could have sat back with the rest of my team next to the Sunderer, but instead I used the enemy's focus to evade their fire and position myself for relative success. So this last clip is just me hiding in some bushes until some enemies show up to retake the point. And I end up making a huge mistake and at the end and dying, but it was pretty funny either way. So camouflage is actually useful in this game, which I find pretty interesting. Activating the infiltrator's cloak is considered a type of crypsis camouflage, or camouflage used to blend in with your surroundings. Even if I was uncloaked, others may not be able to see me because I was using a bush as a sort of disruptive camouflage, or using contrast to break up my silhouette, my outline. Now you couple this with the fact that the human eye perceives motion before anything else, and even out of your peripherals, and I make the decision to sit very still in a bush. This clip though is really just giving me the opportunity to talk about perception, probably the most important element of stealth in my eyes. The lighting in Planetside 2 is very good, and when it's nighttime it can be difficult to see enemies, or when there's a lot of gunfire it can be difficult to hear footsteps. But on the flip side of that, if we are very still, enemies will not see us. When there's a lot of gunfire, enemies will not hear us. Perception is about using these traits to our advantage. But long story short, that about sums up how I personally define stealth and use it in this game. Alright, so less philosophical. Here are some quick tips that will help with your stealth. So when you're in a vehicle, use the L key to turn off your lights. They're obnoxious and make you an easy target to see from a distance, and really you don't need them. Second, use your allies as a distraction. Lots of noise, tanks, fighters are a useful tool to help people ignore you. The third is don't use callouts when enemies will be able to hear you, as you can see by this poor fellow who gets plastered in the face. And now that the basics are out of the way, the series will take a sharper turn towards specific aspects of the game, like how helpful silencers are, what kind of surfaces make what kinds of sounds, and that sort of thing. But that is all for this episode. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about the channel. If you have any ideas for something you'd like to see in the future, please leave a comment below. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.